Hello Ragnarok Ray family. This channel is all about emergency preparedness, and tonight's video I am going to be going over food storage, specifically freeze-dried onions. A couple days ago I teased these in the freeze dryer, and now for the grand reveal, the final product. So this is what the onions look like finalized, freeze-dried. They're super malleable. You can break them up in your fingers really easily. You could turn them into onion powder if you wanted to, really easily. And the benefit of these over traditional onion powder that you might buy from the grocery store, those generally speaking are going to be dehydrated as opposed to freeze-dried, which most of the time dehydrated foods lose most, if not all, of their nutrient value. Freeze-drying retains, I want to say, about 90% of its value, if I'm not mistaken. So let's do a quick little taste test of this onion. Wow, holy crap. That's really surprisingly sweet. It doesn't have like that sharp, typical onion flavor that I was expecting. Texture-wise, it's very similar to freeze-dried apples. That's really good. That's really good. Awesome taste, awesome texture in its freeze-dried form. I also rehydrated partially and fried up some on the stovetop. That's how that looks. Not too different from how it would normally look if it was a fresh onion. Let's try a little taste test of that. So that's how it looks, rehydrated again, fried up in a little bit of olive oil. Absolute perfect texture. Great flavor. Still very, very sweet. Good sweet red onion. A little bit of that sharpness typically found in onions. That was an absolute win, food storage wise. I really like onions for their nutritional value. It fits my current ketogenic lifestyle very, very well with a low carbohydrate count, and it's just, again, jam-packed with nutrients. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but it is a good superfood, relatively inexpensive to buy, and then freeze dry in bulk. Right now, with the economy as crappy as it is, it's been kind of hard with owning a Harvest Right freeze dryer to have just extra money to set it aside to freeze dry large bulk foods that I would normally like to do. So I decided to do some of these irregular batches. I put the onions in these small little Wallaby brand Mylar bags. I like these. Instead of like the bigger Mylar bags with onions, this is perfect because, I mean, you're probably not going to be cooking up a bunch of onions in one setting. So having these little individually portioned sizes for an ingredient additive, I thought it was pretty cool. I might actually try another batch and then just powder up some and store it that way. Spice up some dishes in the future for food storage and whatnot. Prior to freeze drying them, I did hear that you want to blanch them, so I chopped them up like this. I didn't dice them up because that would have just taken way too much time, to be frank, so I just sliced up the onions like so. And then I boiled them for about 5 to 6 minutes, I want to say, and then I put it in a colander and just sprayed cold water on it to stop the cooking process, so it didn't overcook prior to freeze drying. And yeah, I'd say that these turned out great. Again, freeze dried, they turned out phenomenally. That texture, that taste is just surprisingly good. And again, in its rehydrated, reconstituted, cooked form, also an absolute win. So if you're looking into getting into freeze drying or already own a freeze dryer, consider doing onions. It's not as bad as you would think. I'd heard a lot of negative things, that it stinks up your kitchen. It really wasn't that bad. Anyways, if you enjoy this sort of content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much, folks.